Finn Carrick had promised himself that nothing, absolutely nothing, would go wrong in his first 10 minutes aboard the Starship Ethan. He had simple goals: survive, not embarrass himself, and most importantly, not draw the attention of anyone important. A modest list, reasonable by most standards. It failed spectacularly. The Ethan's grand atrium stretched before him, a cathedral of crystal walls that reflected the stars outside like scattered diamonds. Tables groaned under alien delicacies that Finn could neither name nor pronounce, and hundreds of beings, all of whom radiated authority, moved gracefully across the polished floor. Finn lingered near a viewport, hoping he could vanish into the void beyond. Then she appeared. Queen Lysander stepped down from the upper platform with a calm that demanded the room's attention. Blue skin flecked with silver sparkled under the lights, her golden hair flowing like molten metal. Her pointed ears swiveled subtly at greetings, and her presence bent the crowd toward her in near-universal awe. Finn froze, spine straightening instinctively, every thought evaporating as he simply stared. He muttered under his breath, hoping it was inaudible. "She is beautiful." Of course, it was not inaudible. Lysander's enhanced hearing had picked him out from the crowd like a lock picking a key. Her gaze locked on him, precise and unsettling. The room seemed to hold its breath. "Say it again," she commanded softly, yet the sound carried a quiet pulse through the air. Finn's brain produced static. His mouth opened. "Nothing. I didn't mean, well, I meant it, just, not aloud." A corner of her lips lifted in faint amusement. "Truth," she said, "is rare." Finn swallowed. "You are beautiful," he whispered, words escaping like startled birds. For a heartbeat, silence held the room hostage. Then, subtly, Lysander's expression softened and sharpened at the same time, impossible to read. "Good. Honesty is a strength," she murmured. And before he could retreat, she gestured, "Walk with me." Finn followed, his mind a swirl of panic and fascination, as the Queen guided him along the atrium's perimeter. She spoke of the stars, of fractured alliances, of the fragile future she hoped to shape. Finn contributed awkward nods and comments, each hoping they sounded intelligent. "I think half the people here are pretending to understand what the other half is pretending to mean," he admitted at one point. Her ears twitched in delight. "You may be the only one who sees beyond their masks." By the time the comet drifted past the ship, Finn realized his life had been irrevocably altered by a single queen noticing a single human. The next morning, Finn woke to an unfamiliar chime, the kind reserved for those summoned by royalty or doomed to catastrophic trouble. "Her Majesty requests your presence," said a blue-skinned iron guard, tall and imposing. Finn considered hiding in the ventilation shaft. His shoulders were too broad, his courage too weak, so he followed instead. He passed diplomats who stared, whispered, and tilted their heads in suspicion. Inside the Queen's private observation chamber, Lysander studied a holographic map of her dominion, every line of her posture regal yet weary. "I require your assistance today," she said simply. Finn blinked. "Me? Your Majesty? I'm not really qualified." "Respectability is not required," she replied. "Honesty is." And so, Finn found himself accompanying the Queen on an inspection of Aranda 4, a vibrant planet of violet forests and glowing silver rivers. Hydroponic stations, energy grids, and research labs were laid bare before them. Scientists bowed deeply, ears brushing knees, but the Queen asked Finn what he saw. "They hide something," he said truthfully. "The more someone smiles while showing me statistics, the more likely something will explode." Her ears twitched. "Exactly." They caught a station chief attempting to manipulate the data, his panic evident. Finn tried to lighten the mood. "He looks like someone who panics over math." "Math can do terrible things," Lysander replied, and then laughed, a crystalline sound that seemed meant only for him. By the end of the day, Lysander was impressed by Finn's observations, blunt honesty, and uncanny intuition. She remarked, "You navigate problems in a way I did not expect." "I trip into solutions," Finn admitted. "Pure technique." Her smile hinted at amusement, but the Queen's mind was always calculating. Finn realized then that in the vast empire she ruled, she had chosen him not for rank or title, but for his courage to see and speak the truth. But the universe rarely offers calm for long. Their return to the Ethan coincided with the convening of the Dominion Council. Finn's presence had been expressly forbidden, but curiosity and panic led him to the massive crystal doors anyway. Inside, the council debated a political marriage to stabilize the Dominion after a failed coup. Finn pressed against the wall, hoping to blend in, but the Queen's gaze found him immediately. "You disagree?" she asked. I wasn't," Finn began. "Your thoughts speak loudly," she said, tilting her ears toward him. The truth spilled out. "I don't want you to marry anyone else. I know it's ridiculous. I'm ridiculous, but..." Lysander's soft laugh cut through the tension. "Good. I do not wish to marry another either." One councillor objected, citing the Dominion's need for stability. Lysander raised a hand, and the room fell silent. "Stability comes from strength," she declared. Her gaze found Finn. "And my strength comes from honesty, courage, and the one who stands unafraid before danger." Finn winced. "I am very afraid, actually." "And yet you speak," she said, her voice steady. The council bowed. Her decision was final. Finn, standing beside her, realized the galaxy had shifted, not by politics or conquest, but by the choices of two people willing to speak and act with truth. That evening, the Ethan drifted among stardust, quiet and luminous. Finn took Lysander's hand, tentative but hopeful. "Now what?" he asked softly. "Now," she said, brushing her fingers over his, "we build a future not shaped by fear, not by politics, but by choice." Finn smiled, feeling the weight and wonder of the galaxy expand around him. A scout, once desperate to remain invisible, now stood beside a queen who had seen him, not as a footnote in her dominion, but as an equal in honesty and spirit. "And you like that?" she asked, ears dipping forward in a gesture both intimate and open. "Very much," he admitted. For the first time, Finn Carrick understood what it meant to be part of something larger than himself. He was no longer hiding from the stars. He belonged among them, beside the queen who had chosen truth over fear, courage over ceremony, and him. And as the Ethan sailed through a river of starlight, Finn realized that sometimes the smallest voices, spoken in honesty, could echo across the galaxy. Finn Carrick did not expect to wake up to a red alert. The soft hum of the Ethan's engines had been his lullaby only moments before, but now alarms blared, panels flashed, and lights cast the atrium in harsh crimson. Finn sat upright in his cabin, heart hammering, and immediately considered hiding under the bed. Then he remembered, Lysander would never allow that. Outside his cabin viewport, the stars were streaked with sparks of energy fire. Ships, hundreds of them, swept past in aggressive formations. The Ethan was surrounded. A blue-skinned guard appeared instantly, expression unreadable. "Queen Lysander requests your presence on the bridge," he said. "Now." Finn stumbled into the corridor, knees knocking. Somehow, in just a day, he had gone from invisible scout to central figure in the galaxy's most dangerous problems. The bridge of the Ethan was chaos incarnate. Screens displayed approaching warships, their weapons charged and humming. Officers barked orders, alien voices overlapping in a cacophony of urgency. Lysander stood at the center, her silver cloak brushing the floor, her posture unshaken despite the red alerts surrounding her. "Finn," she said, turning those piercing blue eyes on him. "This is not a diplomatic inspection. This is a battle. And you are part of it." Finn's words faltered. "Part of it. I'm a scout. I trip over cables. You speak truth," Lysander interrupted. "That is more useful than you know." Finn swallowed, trying to remember all the training he had ever been given. It was minimal. Very minimal. Mostly about surviving on harsh planets, not commanding an interstellar warship under fire. The communication console crackled. "Queen Lysander," said the voice of Admiral Kor, the very man who had staged the recent rebellion. "I warned you about human interference. Now witness the destruction your distractions have caused." Finn blinked. "Distractions? That's me." You may think this is a distraction, human, but every step you take changes outcomes beyond your understanding, Lysander said softly. And right now, we need every mind focused. The approaching fleet was vast, and the Ethan's shields would not hold against a frontal assault. Finn, scanning the tactical displays, noticed a pattern. One ship, larger than the others, led the formation. Its energy signature was enormous, unstable, a massive comet converted into a warship. Lysander, he said, pointing at the holographic map. That ship, the comet, it's not just a weapon. It's a moving planet core. If it hits a populated system, billions could die. Her ears twitched sharply. I sensed something unusual, she admitted. Your intuition may have saved lives already. The Ethan's tactical officer, a slender alien with translucent skin, turned to Finn. Do you have a suggestion, human? Finn hesitated. We could try to divert the comet. Hit its propulsion, but avoid destabilizing the core. The officer's translucent skin pulsed, approval. Lysander nodded. Finn Carrick, you may lead this strike team. You have honesty and instinct. That is sufficient. Minutes later, Finn was aboard a sleek assault shuttle with a small strike team. 2 iron pilots, a technician, and a squad of elite warriors. The Comet warship loomed ahead, immense and threatening, its surface glowing with molten energy. Finn's stomach churned, but he clenched his fists. Honesty had brought him here. Bravery, or luck, would carry him forward. Coordinates? He asked, fumbling with the controls. Direct approach, one iron pilot replied, eyes fixed on the target. Weapons primed. Shields stable. Finn took a deep breath. We go in, and we trust we don't die. Lysander's voice crackled over the comms. Trust your instincts. I believe in you. Instincts were not Finn's specialty, but determination, pure and uncalculated, surged in him like a river breaking through a dam. He slammed the throttle forward. The Comet warship was deceptive. Its surface rumbled and shifted like it had a mind of its own. Energy turrets swiveled toward them with uncanny speed. Finn's hands shook as he coordinated the strike team. The iron pilots wove through beams of energy, and Finn realized something astonishing. His team followed his lead. His honest assessment of danger, his reckless courage, it inspired them to act, not question. Now! Finn shouted, pointing to the exposed core access point he had noticed. The squad deployed explosives along the fissures of the comet. Energy shields flared. Finn's heart raced. One misstep, and the explosives could destabilize the entire core. He pictured the worst-case scenario. Planets shattered, civilizations wiped out. And he refused to fail. Countdown, Finn muttered. 3, 2, 1. The charges detonated in a controlled burst. The Comet warship shook violently, systems failing. The massive ship wobbled off course, veering harmlessly into empty space. Finn exhaled sharply, hands trembling, but alive. Back on the Ethan, Lysander met them as they returned. She studied Finn with quiet intensity. You risked everything, she said. Not because you were trained, but because you were honest about what you saw, and brave enough to act on it. Finn rubbed the back of his neck. I panicked a lot. And yet, she replied, her silver-speckled skin glowing in the starlight, you acted. Courage often wears a messy face. Her words struck Finn deeply. He realized then that HFY, the human spirit, was not measured by titles, training, or appearances. It was measured by the choice to act when the galaxy demanded it, even when failure seemed inevitable. The celebration was brief. Intelligence reports revealed that Admiral Core had allies scattered throughout the Dominion. The threat was not gone, it had simply changed shape. Lysander convened her council in private. Finn, unsurprisingly, was included. They plan another strike, she said, ears angled sharply, posture rigid. They underestimate humanity, and your kind of honesty. That is their error. Finn listened, overwhelmed but determined. The council debated defensive strategies, but Lysander turned to him. What do you see? Finn took a deep breath. We need mobility. Strike fast. Use unpredictability. The more structured their attack, the easier it is to predict. But if we act erratically, they won't know what to defend against. The council exchanged uneasy glances, but Lysander nodded. Humans do not plan for convention. That is an advantage. Over the next week, Finn trained relentlessly. He learned to pilot assault shuttles, coordinate teams, and operate weapons far beyond anything he had imagined. Lysander remained close, guiding him not with commands, but with quiet confidence. Every instruction, every glance, reinforced the idea that honesty and instinct were as powerful as any weapon. Nightly, they watched stars drift past the Ethan, and Lysander shared glimpses of the weight she bore, the lives of billions, the fragile politics, the constant threat of betrayal. Finn listened, occasionally offering insight, often offering courage. Their bond grew, not just as queen and scout, but as two beings who recognized the strength in truth and action. Finally, the second attack came. A fleet of modified comets, smaller but faster, approached the Dominion's central systems. Finn, now commanding a squadron of elite strike teams, led the charge. His heart pounded, but his mind was clear. Instinct and honesty guided every maneuver. They dodged energy beams, neutralized automated turrets, and disrupted enemy formations. Finn's humans, unpredictable, resourceful, fearless, acted with a coordinated chaos that the enemies could not anticipate. Lysander herself took to a command shuttle, coordinating shields and communications. Together, human and queen became an unstoppable force. One critical moment arrived when a comet with a partially activated core threatened to impact a populated planet. Finn saw the fissure in its trajectory and shouted instructions to the strike team. Using a combination of explosives and targeted energy pulses, they diverted the comet, saving the planet. When the final ship fell silent, Finn allowed himself to exhale fully. They had survived. They had won. Back on the Ethan, Lysander approached him, her face tired but radiant. "You have changed the outcome of history today, Finn Carrick." I just tried not to panic," he said, voice shaking. "And yet," she said softly, tilting her ears forward in intimacy, "your bravery has echoed across the stars. You acted when all others hesitated." Finn stared at her. For the first time, he understood the depth of the HFY ideal, not merely surviving, but standing tall in the face of impossibility, letting humanity's courage and honesty shine, no matter the stakes. "And now?" he asked. "Now," she said, brushing a strand of golden hair from her face, "we rebuild. We heal. And we prepare, knowing that courage is the greatest weapon any species possesses." Finn nodded, feeling the vastness of the galaxy both humbling and reachable. The comet threat was over, for now, but the bond forged in fire and chaos would remain. Humans, messy, imperfect, unpredictable, could change the course of stars. And beside him, the queen who trusted him, smiled. Together, they stood at the viewport, watching the Dominion they had saved stretch beneath them, glittering with violet forests, silver rivers, and the faint hum of life unbroken. Finn realized he was no longer a background character in the galaxy. He was part of the story, part of history, and part of a future shaped by courage, honesty, and a trust that transcended species. And for the first time in his life, Finn Carrick felt entirely capable of meeting whatever stars dared to throw at him next.